What's up, world? Welcome to the first episode of Garage Talks. I'm your host right here, Desmond Reynolds, aka the Peacekeeper. This the bricklayer today. This the first episode, so I thank you guys for tuning in. We got a great guest today by the name of Andiel Brown. Andy, how we doing, man?
Good, man. How you? Oh, missed
Good,
you.
good to see you, man. Thank you for being here today.
Absolutely. My pleasure being here.
Yes, of course. How's life, man?
Life is good. Life is busy.
Yeah.
But good kind of busy.
There you go.
You know, there's a lot going on, a lot of developments, a lot of things we're working on, a lot of things that, keep life pushing, keep it exciting.
Yeah.
Keep it challenging, which makes it all worthwhile, I think.
Of course. That's what keeps it special, right? That's
sure.
Awesome, man. Well, you want to go ahead and tell the world about yourself a little bit, who you are, where you're from?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my name is Andiel Brown. I'm the director of the gospel choirs and ensembles at the University of Oregon. I've been teaching there for 15 years now. It's crazy. It's been that long. Got my undergrad at University of Oregon. I also played football there. I'm originally from Watts, from LA. Went to high school in Portland.
Okay.
And so, I mean, at this point, I suppose I'm an Oregonian. It pains me to say that because, it's like LA, you know what I mean? Right. My heart is still there. Well, I mean, to be fair, it's there because of the weather and the diversity.
Yeah.
My family pretty much, most of them moved out of South Central. So, everybody's on the outskirts, but it's just, it's the vibe of LA that I like.
Right.
The diversity, the fast pace. There's so much to do at all times.
Yeah.
I love that. But I've been very blessed to have my path be what it was and what it is here in Oregon and here in Eugene. So,
100%.
I am one of 5 of my mother's children.
Wow.
My father and mother divorced, and my father remarried, had 3 more kids. So I'm one of 8 of my dads.
Okay.
So he and his second wife, they divorced, and he remarried my mother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So and then he was in LA while that was happening. Oh. Then he moved back up to Portland to be with me and my siblings and my mom. And we all shared a small house in Portland and got to building on it, learned construction the hard way.
Man, right.
I wasn't a fan. But but it taught me a lot. Being without a father.
Right.
Then having a father. Oh, I was in foster care at one point too during all this.
Okay.
And then being in foster care.
How long were you in there for?
3 years.
3. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was in there for 3 years because of just some mess that happened as a child that, I had nothing to do with. But just some church mess that really destroyed a lot of families. Church has a way of hurting a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people have that story, but still, I was very blessed to have a father.
Yeah.
I was very blessed to in spite of all that, still have a love for the Lord.
Definitely.
I was very blessed to, in spite of going from a place of such diversity to going to foster care in Salem.
Yeah.
Where at the time there was no diversity. I was blessed to experience all of that. Right. So I think trials have become blessings for sure.
For sure. I love how you really look at that. A lot of losses are lessons for you. And I think that's definitely huge. It's definitely huge. I mean, gosh, life, that's really something that we learn as lessons, whether we like it or not. Mm-hmm. It's tremendous. I don't blame you, though. I mean, Lakers got more championships than the Blazers do, too. So I don't blame you wanting to stay with LA for sure. For sure. How old were you when you got to Oregon once everything went down?
So I was in foster care. Actually, we were at this farm compound that was owned by the church.
Oh, wow.
That was in Sandy, Oregon.
Okay.
And so the church was very big. It had a lot of corporate sponsorship, celebrity sponsorship, and so it owned property in different states.
Okay.
California, Texas, and in Oregon.
Gotcha.
And we were at one of the Oregon properties. And I was 3 years old when the CSD came in and took seized all the kids because of just some drama and some tragedies that happened there.
Gotcha.
And been in Oregon ever since, actually.
Wow. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So you get out to Oregon. You start going to high school out here.
Mm-hmm.
Coming to high school. Is that when you discovered football?
No. I started playing football in middle school.
Okay.
And I didn't even like football. I liked soccer. Soccer was my sport.
Mm.
But then I wanted to be like my brother so bad. My big
Mm.
brother was my role model. He was my guy.
Gotta have those.
And he loved football.
Right.
And he wanted to be a football player in the NFL.
Gotcha.
He wanted to be like Barry Sanders.
Oh,
that was
man.
his favorite football player.
Okay.
And so, because I wanted to be him,
Mm-hmm.
I said, me too.
Me too. I'm following
So
your lead.
that's exactly what happened. So he was in high school. He's 6 years older than me. So
Gotcha.
he's in high school. I'm still coming up,
Right.
and I'm just watching him do his thing. And I'm thinking, okay, when it's my turn, I'm going to do it too. I'm going to turn it out.
Yeah.
And, that's kind of what happened,
There you go.
But yeah, if it wasn't for him, I would have been an MLS guy,
Yeah, major league.
That was my. I loved it.
Man,
So
right now
let's
they're
do the
making the
thing
most
with the feet,
money.
They make bank. They make
You see
bank.
those deals right now?
International superstar.
Man.
That's the sport of the
Messi?
globe,
Shoot.
and we know nothing about fandom over here. Comparatively, we know nothing about superstar athletes over here.
Oh man.
It's about soccer, Major League Soccer, footballers, man. Woo.
Football, man.
So that was where my path was. If it
Right.
wasn't for my brother, I wouldn't have never went to Oregon.
Wow.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Never have happened.
So when you were in high school,
Mm-hmm.
is that when Oregon took notice?
Yeah. So my junior year, I had a breakout season.
Okay.
It was the first year that I started
Gotcha.
varsity.
Okay.
I used to swing as a freshman. I swung varsity. It's kind of good.
Hey, yeah.
But there were seniors ahead of me. There were people ahead of me.
Right.
My junior year, they all graduated. Now there's no excuse. There's politics in high school. The PTA is like, no, my son's gonna play.
Oh man, yeah. Oh man, they think it's kid sports. Man.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. So there's cats who, the mom's the president of the PTA.
Right.
He's gonna get in. He's gonna be a starter.
Yeah.
Where he probably shouldn't have been.
Mm.
But they got pulled like that. So that's kind of what happened when they graduated.
Right.
Then there's no more excuse. Let's play the best people.
Yeah.
And I was one of the best people.
There you go.
And it was me and this other cat named Olani Shabomahin. He was half white, half Nigerian.
That's a fun name to say.
It's a great name. I loved it. Great name. When he told me what it was, I'm going to learn that. I'm going to remember it. We call him Nee for short.
Yeah.
He went to a private school.
Okay.
That didn't have a football team. So he came to my school.
Oh, word.
That's where we met. Man.
Shoot.
And he was just a big bruiser, knocking people over. We were like a 1-2 punch. He would just run people over. I'd run around, folks juke. I became the Barry Sanders of the crew, right?
Hey, there we go.
And kept me safe. I had no injuries. When you learn how to avoid.
Yeah.
I was little until my junior year in college.
Really, eh?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I was
man.
little. In high school, I think I graduated high school at 5'9.5", 168 pounds.
Really?
High school graduate.
I could not have told. When I met you, man, I was like, this dude.
Well, yeah. Well, I had a great strength and conditioning coach.
Okay.
Jimmy Radcliffe, probably the best in the country.
Really?
No exaggeration.
Gotcha.
He has tens of Olympians under his belt. A number of gold medalists.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you were blessed to be.
That's what he does. It was a blessing, and I didn't know at the time.
Definitely.
I soon found out. This man wrote probably 2 books this thick on the importance and execution of plyometrics that every serious athlete or athlete's coach in the world knows about. That's the man. He goes overseas every year to like Russia and all these other serious powerlifting countries and gives all these talks about plyometrics and lifting, how to do a technique. He's the guy.
Oh my
He's
goodness.
the man.
So discipline's top of his list.
I thought I was disciplined. No, I didn't. No, I wasn't disciplined. I want to say no. I want to sound good.
Right,
No,
right.
it wasn't. I had no discipline. Really.
Man,
I had a base.
yeah.
I had a base. Thank you, Father. My dad gave me a base.
There
Jimmy Radcliffe
There you
turned it up. Not only did he
It's huge.
kind of instill discipline, but he instilled accountability
go.
on another level.
Mm.
If it wasn't for my pop, I wouldn't have been ready for Jimmy Radcliffe.
Gotcha.
Because not only did he require excellence of you, he tells you he believes you can do it, but then he will do it with you.
There you go.
Anything he asked of us to do, he would do it with us. And that's how it just changed my entire mindset
Oh yeah.
on how I want to be. You know, I don't want to just talk about something. I want to be about it. Because I saw this old man, 55 years old, outrunning 19-year-old athletes, D1 athletes, all American.
Wow.
I saw him outlift this 365-pound Uso Samoan. Just power clean. He's like, you can go harder than that, sir. Sir, you can do. He's like, Coach, I'm tired. I'm hurting. Like, and I'm just sitting here watching it. He said, okay. Has him step off the platform and just, perfect technique. Drops it and walks off. Doesn't say, now you do it. He just said, okay. Came and did it. Now, Jimmy Radcliffe is 5'7", 150 pounds soaking wet.
For real?
Yeah.
Sheesh.
And outlifted one of our strongest guys on the team.
Oh my gosh.
And walked off. That's
wild.
I said to myself, that's the kind of accountability I want to have. Yeah. That's the kind of man I want to be. Right. So a lot of things that seemed like they were difficult and they were annoying, they were tedious. Some of the best things for me.
Definitely.
Some of the best things for my life came from things that I did not want to go through at the time. Yeah. And I think a lot of people can say the same thing.
100%.
You know,
I got one person, Clash's Clay. Talked about it. I hated every minute of training.
Yeah.
But I knew it was all worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, we see his prestigious career.
That's it.
I mean, just throwing one name at you.
That's it.
That's huge.
You know who else said something like that?
Huh.
Mike Tyson.
Oh.
He said, I hated to train.
Right.
I hated to train.
Right.
But you got to train like you love it.
Like you love it.
If you train like you love it, can nobody defeat you? No. Nobody can mess with you. It's like, that's the mindset you got to have. You got to be ferocious. You got to train like this. There's nothing better, nothing greater. Right. And this is something you hate the most. This is the most uncomfortable. This is the most inconvenient. This is the most unfavorable situation for you in the moment, but you got to do it as if you love it. Oh. And that just struck me in a way that it causes me to look back. That's what Coach Rad was doing.
Wow. He
says, listen, we have 100 of these uphills. 10 of these 50-yard sprints uphill. The hill is this steep. 10 of them. Okay, we get it. The last one, we're struggling, but we get it. It's like maximum effort. Let's go. And then we're proud of ourselves. We just did 10. But he'll say something like, now, I know we said we're going to do 10, but I want to get better today. I don't know about you, but I'm going to do another one. He's not even playing. He said, I'm going to do another one. And, so then we're like, we're not about to let this old man outwork us in a workout
early
in the summer.
20s.
Right. There's no way. So that kind of accountability, that kind of discipline, that kind of gravitating and you know, he doing it like he loves it. He lives for this. And I believe you couldn't tell me otherwise. Right. I believe he loves it. Right. I know you don't, because nobody likes being broken down in their body, hurting, wheezing, gasping for air, or, you know, you're on the brink of failure if you're lifting. Nobody likes that. But you like what it does for you. Exactly. You like what it does for you mentally. You like what it does for you physically. And so we're like, okay, we're going to do it too. And it got so common with him to where even if he wasn't at a workout, there were a couple leaders that on the team that ended up doing the same thing. Yeah, we just did 10. I don't know about you. I'm going to do 2 more.
So it instilled in you guys.
Yeah. And then you could see who's bought into that mentality and who hasn't. Others were like, "Yep, let's go." And then there's some that's like, "Come on, man, don't do that,
Man.
like, no, we're not
That's
doing
it.
that."
But
Just
it
like,
shows. It shows the mentality.
Mhm.
I mean, that's huge, That's
Mhm.
life.
hmm
That's life. When you're going through it, one thing you'll always notice is you're going to see who's still with you
Yeah.
when you're at your lowest point.
Yeah.
And when you're just trying to push through, and you're going to see who is not with you.
Yeah.
They're gonna weather away.
hmm
And then that's where your discipline of I'm gonna keep going. And the real ones are gonna stay with you.
hmm
And I love that.
Absolutely.
Because honestly, that's what I'm hearing from you. That just gets you through life right there.
hmm
That's deep, man. That's
Mhm.
deep. That's something I personally just in a different facet of going through.
hmm
I could look left and right, and I'm seeing who's here and who's not.
Right.
Some withered away. You know, they made it look good when they withered away. It's good to see you, man. Take care. But there's others like what you need.
Yeah.
And those are the ones. Those are the Radcliffes that are staying
Yeah.
there. Those are the ones that say, hey, you can do better.
hmm
Come on. This is what we're going to do today.
Yeah.
Man, it instilled in me too, man. So
Mhm.
hearing a story like that is such a good reminder to just say, hey, we all need that person in our life. And then we're going to really find out when it gets hard, when we
Mhm.
get tired.
Yeah.
Because when you get tired, you start learning some things.
And I tell you, man, I feel like it's something that every man needs to have in their life. The ability to say, this is not something I want to do, but I have the strength and the fortitude to persevere through it.
Oof,
Everybody
yes.
needs to have that experience of to push through adversity.
Right.
A lot of people seems like they shy away from it.
Yes.
When you do that, man, it does things for you, not just for your body, but your mentality too. It changed my mind.
Oh man.
It changed my mind completely.
Oh,
like there's something bigger than just me.
Yeah.
And I'm able to push through to see a goal.
Right.
And what it does for you is it shows you that it shows you what you can become.
Yes.
It shows you what you can overcome.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't want to. There's something to be said about doing something that you don't want to do, but pushing through it anyway. That builds the character of a man.
Adversity is everything.
It really is. You can learn so much during that time. Right. You can teach yourself so much about yourself during those times. Another thing about Jimmy Radcliffe is not only did he force us to have this kind of mentality, but he also did something called, he was very goal-centered.
Okay.
He said, what do you want to do as a man? What do you want to be as a man? I'm 19 years old. I don't know. I want to play football.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Get these grades so I can stay eligible. Not because, because I'm really concerned about grades. So I can stay eligible. You know what I mean? That's really what it was at the time. But he made you think, well, your homework is you're not going to look in the playbooks tonight. Mm-hmm. I want you to come up with some goals for your life. What you want to be 5 years, 10 years from now.
Wow.
And
it's a big question.
Yeah.
It really is.
What kind of person do you want to be? What do you want people to say about you? What do you want them to do or how to interact with you? Mm-hmm. When you walk into a room, what do people feel? All the above. And some people didn't have the wherewithal what's the word I'm looking for? They didn't have the vocabulary to say, this is what I want. Gotcha. They didn't even have the formula to plot it out the right way. So he gave us a sheet and he gave us prompts and then we fill in the blanks. And that's our goal sheet. And he did it himself. Okay. And he would carry his goals around him everywhere he went.
Okay.
Everywhere. And he had his goals back from probably the 90s, maybe even before. And so he's walking around with them. He's like, I never leave home without him. Take him out. We always test him. Hey, Coach Red, you got your goals? Yes, sir. I got my goals right here. Just walk off. That was his Steve. So I got my goals. I don't think I ever told you about this.
I don't think you have.
These goals I wrote down 2005 when I realized, because they changed. But then in 2005, I realized exactly what I wanted in my life.
Wow.
And I wrote it on this sheet. And here, check that out.
Let me check that.
And then what he did is he took it, he shrunk it down.
Yeah.
And then he laminated it and gave it back to me. Wow. He did that for all the players. I've had that in my wallet since 2005.
I can tell.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Man. That's
So
amazing.
let me show you what it's. Let me read you what it says.
It's amazing.
It says my goal is, well, number one, to be the best Christian, athlete, entertainer, role model to all who come to me in life.
Mm.
Number two, to be a good example of what a positive attitude, hard work, persistence, and a strong faith and trust in Jesus can achieve in everyday life. Number three, to always remember that my faith and obedience to Jesus is my first and foremost objective in life.
There you go.
And all the other most important aspects of a worthwhile life. And then the quote that best describes me in my life at this point in time was Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And then there were some others, like I will bless the Lord at all times, and His praises shall continually be in my mouth, which kind of fits to what I'm doing now with the gospel choir.
Exactly.
You know what I
15
mean?
years strong. Oh,
So I have this on me everywhere I go.
it's a reminder.
As a reminder, because of that man.
Yeah.
And I know you asked me earlier, do you have mentors in your life? I have probably 4.
Mm.
And I don't
4
talk to them every day.
mentors.
Oh, yeah, blessed.
Wow.
Blessed life. My dad was my first mentor.
There we go.
My dad prepared me for life.
Definitely.
He prepared me for faith.
Yeah.
He prepared me for disappointment.
Yeah.
He prepared me for how to handle it.
Mm.
He prepared me for my next mentors.
Gotcha.
My other mentor is a man named Dr. Johnny Lake, who I met at U of O my freshman year in college.
Okay.
Now, here's the crazy thing. I was 19 when I met Dr. Johnny Lake.
Did he come at the perfect time?
Came at an interesting time in life.
Interesting.
It was always perfect. It's always perfect.
Oh.
But here's the thing. Remember I told you I was in foster care?
Yes.
So when the children who were at the farm compound were seized, there were about 50 of us.
Okay.
They didn't know what to do with us. So until they figured out where they were going to place us, what foster home each kid was going to, they had us in a holding facility called McLaren, which is a school for boys.
Okay.
It's like a juvenile detention center.
Okay.
Right? And so they're holding us there as if we're bad kids. And apparently, now this is the report. We were bouncing all over the walls. We were acting crazy, and they couldn't control us. They didn't know what to do with us.
Now, how old were you, A?
I was just about to turn 4 personally,
About to turn 4.
but there was the age range was 3 to probably 10.
Okay.
The group of boys that I was with was 3 to 5.
Gotcha.
And so they were like, well, we don't know what to do with these kids. And at the time, we were actually very disciplined. They just didn't know how to talk to us because they're a bunch of Oregon folks who don't know how to talk to young boys from LA who take specific instruction.
Mm.
So they called this man in to come and talk to us and try to set us straight, right? He comes in cracking jokes and telling stories, and we instantly fell in love with him. And we're like, man, this dude's fun.
Yes.
He knows how to talk to us.
Yes.
Guess who it was?
Johnny Lake.
Dr. Johnny Lake.
Wow.
And then he came in for 2 weeks, almost every day, just talk to us, eat with us, read to us, crack jokes with us, And then 2 weeks later, he was gone because we were all gone. We were all out of there. So he came in and did what he needed to do. I didn't see that man again until I was 19, 15 years later. And guess what he said? This how he introduced himself to me. He said, "Hey, young blood." And then he stops. He goes, "I know you." I'm like, "You don't know me? I don't know you either. I don't know you. Who are you?" He said, "No, I never forget energy. Yeah, I never forget energy. Who are your people?" I was like, my dad's Roosevelt Brown. My mom's Andrea Brown.
Right.
I know you.
I know you.
He said, "I never forget energy." And I tell you what, like we were almost at the hip for probably 2-3 years after that, because he's telling me what he's doing with his getting his doctorate and education. He's always trying to help disadvantaged or underrepresented youth
Okay.
He's taking me to Churchill to, play with the kids there, and essentially be his understudy. To do the work that he does.
Yeah.
And I was honored to do it. 7 years after we met, we found out where we knew each other.
7 years,
Yeah. 7 years later.
Years. That's crazy
And
how
then-
that works, man.
And then he was like, I was there.
Yeah.
I was like, you were there? He was like, yeah, I was there. And then he started rattling off stories like, sure was you.
Man.
And we didn't know until then.
Wow.
7 years after we reconnected. He didn't forget the energy. He didn't, like, that man's real.
Yeah.
That's one of my mentors.
Energy, man.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I tell people, I mean, listen to your heart first, but
Mhm.
energy keeps your heart beating.
Mm-hmm.
And that right there,
Mhm.
perfect example. Energy just doesn't
Yeah.
lie.
Yeah.
People can smile at you, they can tell you a joke, but the energy, if you're not feeling it,
Mm-hmm.
oh my goodness. But when you are feeling it,
Mm-hmm.
it's the best feeling in the world.
Right.
That's why they say love is a drug. It's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
Man. That's deep right there.
And I respect people that are so in tune with energy
Mm.
that they can remember it. It's almost like a smell that you don't forget.
Right.
And then you smell it again, it brings you back to some place.
Yes.
15 years later,
15.
he was like, I know you.
That is wild.
And look, we spent 2 weeks together.
Oh,
Not even every day.
oh.
And 15 years later, he remembers.
Oh my
I was like,
gosh.
this dude's something special. Like, this man's got a superpower.
Right.
That's one of my mentors. One of my other mentors is, his name is Cedric G. Weary. He was the director of the gospel choirs and ensembles at U of O when I was an undergrad.
Okay.
And just down to earth dude. And I wanted to be like him musically.
There you go.
I was like, man, you real cool.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing. You're an expert, but you're not, like, you don't lord it over us. Like, you're one of us almost.
Right.
It's like you can hang out and just vibe
He's
with
a
us.
leader.
He was a leader
By example. Mm.
but then he also knew how to get out of us what he wanted.
There you go.
He was an expert at saying, this is what I need you to do. This is how I need you to do it. Now let's make it happen. Repetition. And then he became a friend. So blessed to have him. He gave me aspirations of what I want to be in life. He had, beautiful family,
Man.
beautiful kids, all daughters. And I'm like, listen, I'm going to be the son you never had. I never told him that.
Yeah.
It just kind of felt like that. Like, man, I want to be around this dude. You know what I mean?
So
So
that fourth one.
the fourth one, I'm going to hold on to that one.
Fair enough.
I'm going to hold on to that one. I'm going to let you know next time. Bring me back and I'll tell you.
All right, sounds good. You got a deal right there.
Yeah.
That's a deal. Man, so get in with football, having these mentors and having everything. Football, you're at U of O playing for 5 years. You did a redshirt year as well.
Mm-hmm.
How was football? How was it being a college athlete? How was it being here at Autzen, playing through the games? How was that experience for you?
I mean, that's a loaded question. There's so many experiences, so many different emotions going into it.
Definitely.
Because I spent 5 years as an undergrad.
Mm.
My first year as a redshirt walk-on.
Mm.
I was a preferred walk-on, so I didn't have to try out. But they knew, that they wanted me on the team. And I was a preferred walk-on because they recruited me out of high school, but I had committed to a different school.
Okay.
I thought I was going to go to USC.
Really?
I thought I was going to go to USC.
Back to LA.
Oh, I'm going home.
Back.
Oh, I'm feeling good.
Sunshine everywhere.
Listen, before I even signed any kind of commitment letter, I got a letter in the mail saying we'll no longer be requiring your services at USC. And I was pissed. I was mad. Like, what? How dare you?
Right.
I said, all right, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Then I was like, if I'm not going to LA, I want to stay near my mom so I can stay close to her. I'm gonna go to a university that's close to her, but far enough away to where I'm not living at home. So I was gonna go to Willamette University, which is very big on academics.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Division III football team, but they had already won 2 national championships in the Division III. So it was like, listen, the competition's up here. They have excellence, and I'm gonna be a starter.
Yeah.
they messed up my transcripts to where I would have had the gray shirt, which means I wouldn't been able to play my freshman year.
Man.
And so my ego's like, nah, if you don't take care of my transcripts, that means you don't really want me here. I'm out of here.
Right.
So I'm not no gray shirt. So I call up the coaches at Oregon. Listen, I'm coming to Oregon. They said, that's great to hear, but we already gave away all our scholarships. It's
no.
Oh yeah, it's like beginning of July at this point.
Yeah.
That's how messed up it was, the timeline. And I didn't know any of this was the case.
Right.
I didn't have any guidance. So I ended up going to Oregon. They were like, listen, you're welcome to come, but we don't have a scholarship to give you. So you'll have to be a walk-on this year. But then, we can give you a scholarship next year.
Okay.
So I said, okay, well, that's fine. I guess that could work.
Yeah.
Little did I know that, there's a lot of financial aid stuff you got to go through if you're not on scholarship. You got to go through
that paperwork is brutal.
Man, so I had to do all that. I had to figure that out.
Yeah.
And then being a walk-on, nobody knew that I was a preferred walk-on. They just knew I wasn't on scholarship, so they treated me as such.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they just thought you just walked on the field, literally.
Yeah. They're like, man, you not.
Right.
They treat a lot of walk-ons like you're not special.
Isn't that crazy?
It's very crazy.
Isn't that so crazy? There,
very crazy.
So,
and it's not just Oregon. That's
yeah.
I guarantee you that's probably every Power 5 university in the country.
Oh man, and it gets worse nowadays. I mean, with the age of social media and everything, perception is everything.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody has this certain visual of you, it's crazy how you just most likely will be treated.
Oh man.
How do you counter it though? How does one counter? What's your counter? What does Andiel
counter? Look, I didn't really have a counter.
Okay.
Until I had confidence. Because coming into high school, I wasn't solid in my identity yet. I mean, coming into college.
Okay.
I was still, my whole thing is I want to fit in. I want to be normal. I want to be like everybody else.
As 99% of us want to.
Absolutely. But then when you live life trying to fit in, trying to be part of the status quo, trying to be like everybody else, and you don't embrace your uniqueness that God put in you, the slightest thing can shift you off kilter, and you'll implode or
100%. Explode
or you'll fall apart.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Because now you're basically teetering on a fine line, and your purpose is swayed by others people's opinion.
Oh my gosh. And when you don't have purpose, I got to tell you, that's one of the craziest, worst feelings. Let's just be real. When someone doesn't have purpose and doesn't even, okay, let me even say this. When they don't try to find their purpose, oh my gosh. Because when you're walking your path, I must say, it's a great feeling. It might be scary.
Yeah.
It might be discouraging at times, but at least you're walking your path.
Yeah.
And that's what's huge.
Yeah.
Purpose. It's so true. I always got to remember that at times. Follow your path, especially nowadays with so many distractions on each end. It's huge, man. It really is huge.
And I didn't have that.
Gotcha.
I didn't have that. I was still trying to be like everybody else. I wanted to be popular. I wanted to be cool.
Yeah.
I wanted to be accepted. But one thing I've known, and my dad told it, my dad, that's my fourth one.
Yeah, okay. I had some hints right there, but
But he told me, now I'll go into detail, next time.
Next time.
But he told me when I was young, he's like, you're not like everybody else, Andiel.
Definitely.
You can't do what everybody else does.
You're Andiel.
You're Andiel. There's never going to be another like you.
Yes.
You're not Isaiah. You're not Bobby. You're not Mike. Those are my aces back then in high school.
Gotcha.
You're not Ronald.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? These are the people I used to try to be like.
Gotcha.
I used to try to fit in. These were the most popular black people in my school.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be like them.
Yeah.
You can't be like them. You got to be you. And I ran from it. I fought it.
Okay.
I didn't want to be that because being me didn't give me the results I wanted. I didn't get the attention I wanted. I didn't get the love that I felt I needed. Just being myself. Yeah. I didn't get validation like I thought I needed. Yeah. Just being myself. So no, I'm running from it. Yeah. So I'm taking that. I'm trying to hear what he's saying, but I'm taking that being like everybody else gave me a false sense of security, but it was enough to keep me doing it. So I'm taking that little thin blanket into college.
Yeah.
So
It's huge.
so when I don't get the validation that I think I should for being a good athlete because I'm a walk on, it hurt. It shook me. Like, are you kidding me?
Of
You don't know who
course.
I am?
Oh man, the insecurities.
You know my
rise up,
stats
everything.
in high school? And you
The
know,
pride, everything's
when you go to college, like your high school stats don't matter. I didn't know that back then. Everybody's good. Everybody's the best player on the team now.
Right.
But I'm still like, I'm better than most of y'all here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm faster than most of y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I got more grit, more drive than you. Very few of y'all gonna outwork me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Kellen Taylor, he might outwork me.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Finney, he might outwork me. I can't think of anybody else. I mean, that's how it was. And so, how are you not gonna treat me like everybody else?
Mm-hmm.
So now my confidence is shook. I'll never let anybody know it.
Right.
But I'm just like, I'm emotionally on the inside. I'm like, I'm really starting to struggle with who am I then if I'm not celebrated for my athleticism.
You're feeling it. Yeah, you're really feeling it now. It's really
right. Because in high school, that's how I became popular.
Yeah.
That's how I started to, feel myself and my own identity. I excelled in athletics. Mm-hmm. Okay, now I can be myself. Exactly. But if that's taken away from me now, who am I?
Who am I? Woo,
right?
Man, that's a question people I try to ask if you put the phone down, if you try to get things done. But hey, I appreciate you right here, man. I thank you for everything. We're going to keep a pause here because part 2 is coming. Man.
Absolutely.
So I want to say I appreciate you. Thank you for everything.
Absolutely.
We tuning in for part 2 soon, man.
Yes, sir.
World, we appreciate y'all. Tune in for part 2 coming up. But for now, y'all bless up. Have a good night.